What's up, my friends? Welcome to this episode of the Whole Health with Rob Carney Podcast. And on this episode, Graham Lichtner is back. We haven't done a podcast together since March. It was when we did our first episode together, which was a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked out that one, I'm going to put the link in the description box here. But in this episode, we touch on a lot of things. We talk about LARPing between Pillars of Growth, which is his company, and Ice and Iron, which is my wellness group up here I have with my buddy Eddie and Jordan. And we talk about personal development. We talk about making 2021 the best year ever, or maybe not. Maybe making it just a better year than before. We talk about accepting 2020 for all it is and all that it was. And we just talk about a lot of fun stuff. We spitball a lot. Graham is one of my favorite guests to just spitball with. We just have a lot of fun back and forth. We really build off each other's conversations, and I always appreciate having him on. So Graham is the founder of Pillars of Growth, Mind, Body, Spirit, and he is a coach on a mission to awaken the infinite potential within people, changing the world by first changing ourselves. So with that being said, before we begin, I want to talk about the opportunity to build a community and join a community of like-minded people, as Graham has done with Pillars of Growth. I'm doing with Ice and Iron, as I mentioned, with my buddies Eddie and Jordan, and what we do with the Purium community. So we work with Organic Superfoods with a lot of like-minded individuals who come from all walks of life: teachers, healers, nutritionists, doctors, medical students, the list goes on and on. People that are looking to improve themselves and improve the planet by sharing organic superfoods and connecting with other people, collaborating and growing together. So if you're looking for a community of like-minded people, shoot me a message at Wholehealth Connections on Instagram, or feel free to send me an email, wholehealthconnections@gmail.com, and just use the word community and I'll know what you're talking about. So without further ado, enjoy this podcast with Graham, and here we go. Graham Lichtner, welcome back, my friend.
Mr. Rob, dude. We out here.
We're always out here. So, I realized the last time we did a podcast was probably a good 6 or more months ago.
I was still in PA. Yeah, longer than that. I was in PA.
Longer than that. Yeah. And we did an Instagram live, I think right before you moved out to Southern California, but we haven't really had the time to just sit down and flow together. So I'm real excited today, and I'd love to just have you share, what's been this journey of 2020? Because I think every single person in the world has had a very unique experience this year. So I'd love to hear what the 2020 journey of Graham Lichtner has been, and what that means for 2021.
It's been the year of finding all the swords I ever wanted on medieval collectibles, dude. Shout out to Medieval Collectibles. For all of you LARPers out there, there's this dope website called Medieval Collectibles, and they literally sell like anything you can think of from like that, from maybe like, I don't know, 750 or 800 AD to like late period, like 1500, like crazy stuff, such cool stuff. So I got this dope Gladius. Yeah, and I got like a really cool Boken, like Japanese training sword recently, and I was just like having fun with them.
Can we set up a time that we have a sword fight between Ice and Iron and Pillars of Growth? Can we make that happen?
Oh, hell yeah, dude! We'll LARP it up, 100%, dude. That's Sax. We'll do it. You guys are the wildlings up north. No, dude, I'm down. It's been a great year. The best year of my life for sure. Super transformative and just tons of transition. I mean, I started this year and I was still on the East Coast back in Pennsylvania. I moved out here in March to Encinitas, California, which is about 30 minutes north of San Diego. And I moved out here as coronavirus shut the world down. So it's almost like this year is like a weird year because it's almost like 2 years, right? Because January and February were like their own year.
Right.
It was Kobe died. That was like before.
Right.
That was like before anything even, before 2020 was 2020. So when I think about that, I have some clients that I'm working with that were like, started with me in February. And I'm like, dude, like that, like doesn't even, like I don't even remember February because it was so like I guess the psychological structures have changed so much as a collective that you can't even imagine life like that. I mean, now they're like, they're closing down our gym out here again. And actually, it's pretty sweet. They're moving it outside, which is best case scenario for me.
Nice. That's cool.
I'm stoked. Yeah, I've been wanting an outdoor gym, and I'm getting it. So thank you, Corona. Right. So it was pretty crazy though. I drove out here, and as I was driving across the country to move out here, the entire world was shutting down. In each city I went to, the next night they were closing down. So it was really unique. And when I got here, it was really just like getting my feet entrenched in an entirely new chapter of my life and really embracing it. I feel like this year has just been the year of really me stepping into like that king energy and really like getting out on my own. I'm living with my girlfriend. She's amazing, but really like building something and really putting myself up against the wall, not to the point where I'm like, I'm not hurting or anything like that, but putting myself in a place where like it's foreign and I have to figure it out. And I have to rely on the skills that I've developed in my life and rely on the things that I know and my knowledge, my experience, my skill set to create a life for myself. And luckily, I mean, I've been putting in the work for 5 years now. So everything I'd already built with Pillars of Growth came with me. So luckily, I said luckily again, not luck. With the grace of Zoom and social media, etc., we've been able to build something really special. So the transition out here was quite smooth. Really, the only thing we had to learn how to do was not eat out and get used to like, okay, cool, we work from home, we live at home, we sleep here, but like let's not stay here all the time. And we figured that out now. But that was a transition. So I think this year has just been the year of transition from that like Prince energy to that King energy and really stepping into it. And like I just said, we just finished an amazing retreat with the Leaders and the Legends peeps that we're working with. And there's a real crew forming, and it's really special. I'm really grateful to be part of it.
And man, as I said before we hopped on the show here, is watching that retreat unfold was I was just watching it from social media, but it's like I'm connected with Zavi and some of the other people in your squad too. We've got our squads are overlinking, so it's been really cool to just watch your stories, watch his stories, and just be like, wow, they're doing the damn thing. Like that's what we need more of, and that's something that when we had our ice and iron last Sunday. Seems like forever ago. It's been a crazy busy week in a good way. But it was like being in that community. I had this realization, which sounds obvious, but it's like no one hangs out anymore. No one just like hangs out. And of course there's circumstances that are, kind of dictating that. But it made me realize, how essential community is and how vital it is for personal and collective growth, and that as an American culture or Western culture, we really value individuality. When you look at some of the Eastern cultures, they're more of a collective and more of a tribe, more of a unit, more of a community. And it's really been, eye-opening to me just to recognize, like, yeah, I can do anything I want to by myself and accomplish these goals. But at the end of the day, it's a lot more fun to do with other people. And you can do it a lot better, collaborating with other people. And I've really been on this kick of the fact that I don't really believe in the whole survival of the fittest that it applies to human beings. I think it's, really survival of those who collaborate, because, it's really just a matter of, you don't hear about the one person that survived, a war or whatever. It's like you hear about the community, the group of people, because they work together and hone their skills. So, I've really been putting a focus and emphasis on community. That's what I think is so important about what you do, is the fact that you bring people together and you build people up. And that's exactly what we need in the world right now.
Dude, 1,000%, man. And like I said, I'm loving seeing the ice and iron, that one you had recently with the snow and everything. Like it was very mass. So I was like, right on. They're doing it. I love it. They're all out there like swinging maces and just like having a good time. And that's what it looked like. It looked like a picnic for seekers. Right. So, it was really dope to see that. And yeah, I think to your point, I agree. I mean, it is always like a tribe of people or this group of people or this community of people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, I mean, I just think it's the most important thing. And I was having a conversation on a podcast that I hosted yesterday with someone who used to work with me in the original POG squad. And he was like, one of the last things that you ever said to me before we reconnected and before he left the squad originally was, he's like, listen, man, like, just so you know, you going off and doing what you're doing it alone is hard as shit. Doing it with a crew is so much more fun. And he's like, I never forgot that. And he's in the process of like building his crew this year and doing all that stuff. So agreed. It's so much more fun. I think about the values of pillars of growth and the truths, as we call them, right? One of them that I added recently is fun. If you ain't laughing, you ain't doing it right. Like it's so easy to overlook it because we want to think about the numbers. We want to think about, essentially just overcompensating for all of our insecurities and lack in our lives. So to come to a place where you can have people that aren't lacking anything in the moment. Everyone's giving and receiving exactly what they need. It's just a very special time. And it really is a special time. It's a special journey. And, one thing that I learned from like my psychedelic experiences is that, dude, when you're on psychedelics, you're so present. Even going to the 7-Eleven is a fucking journey. You're like, that was an amazing journey. Like, dude, I walked in and that guy looked at me and it was awesome. You know what I mean? But like, dude, really though. And it's like that. And if you can get to a place like that and create space like that, which I think is the real gift, right, of people who are doing things like you or I, is less of like my coaching skills, my knowledge, my wisdom, blah, blah, blah. It's so much more of my energy frequency and creating a space that vibrates at that, so people can feel in a certain space and time that they can be them, and allow that to happen. Because every time it happens, a little more and a little more and a little more and a little more, and we all become ourselves a little more and a little more and a little more. It rubs off on other people, and that's how like real change is happening right now. It's because people like you and I are just okay with getting people together in a non-judgmental way to do things that are to be bonding experiences. So yeah, I love seeing what you're doing. And I absolutely love the retreats. I mean, I want to do at least 4 next year. But I've also found that one thing that I'm loving doing that I never realized was a thing were these mini retreats where, like, if, for example, let's say I have like 4 or 5 clients right now in California. Hey, boys, let's all get together. We're going to do a mini retreat for like the next 3 days and just do submersive. And we're going to train together, work out together, do this stuff together. Because I found that these little ones actually like really help to keep an edge. And when we do the bigger retreats, people already know each other. So it goes even deeper, right? Because so much of retreats, if people don't know each other, is like, well, we have to break through that barrier and get to know each other.
Right.
And that extra day or two takes away from 2 more days we could have to go even deeper if we'd already known each other. So it's something that I've discovered that I absolutely love. And, one thing that I'm definitely going to do is with some of the people that I'm working with, we're definitely going to do like a very long RV trip here at some point.
Nice.
Yeah, like 3 to 6 months on the road, just visiting clients, spending time with them. Yeah. Really open it up, because it's right now there's like this, it's less now than it was. I think it's shifting, or maybe my perception is just that because I only see people doing things similar to me at this point. But the online coaching, like the idea of it being online coaching, is the issue, right? It's not online coaching, it's fucking coaching. If you're a coach, you're a coach, dude. It doesn't matter where you do it, you do it. But with that said, the marketers are selling online coaching as this beautiful thing where you can work on the beach and you can like earn all this money and you don't have to deal with people. It's like it's setting everyone up to come to a place where that's what they think they want, versus what they really crave is they want to be seen, heard, felt, and received, and being able to give and really serve people with their gifts at the high level. So I think that it's always going to be a balance of the in-person and online stuff, which obviously with Ice and Iron you're super aware of, and I found that to be just the most fun. It's exciting. We get a little bit of both. I get more time to me, so after this call I can go do what I want right away. And everyone gets to share each other in that way, that experience. But I did and I don't know if I ever told you this, I did a 9-week international road trip in beginning of 2018. And I visited clients all over the country. And then I went to London. I had a client in London and I visited him as well.
Wow.
It was one of the best experiences of my life. Sleeping on the couches, sleeping in beds that weren't mine, like cooking, cleaning, drinking coffee with people, like all different ages. I had clients that were in their 40s with kids, and I had clients who were like, 25 and just graduated college. Like, it was a crazy experience. And I really want to bring that to another level, RV style, where I get to enjoy the adventure and the freeing feeling of not having material attachment, and just see how that plays out. Especially me being 27 years old. I mean, it's so early in the game. And why not explore and see how that works? And since there's clients all over the country, it's also awesome because we have to do in-person stuff. So it's something I'm working towards and looking forward to doing at some point here.
I love that. Yeah, they said a lot of good things I want to touch on. And the first one you said earlier on was, the fact of, just showing up and being you and giving space for people to be themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think a lot of that is just really being okay with ourselves and, really, in a sense, giving permission for other people to do the same. Because when you and I show up and other people are showing up as their true authentic selves, someone else is looking like, well, they're just doing it. And it kind of gives them permission in a sense to be like, oh wait, if they're doing it, I can do it too. And it kind of creates that snowball effect that the more that you interact with people as your true authentic self, it opens them up to be their true authentic self, and they're going out and opening up other people. And it just becomes this really cool cycle that, like, at Ice and Iron, you see people that, the first time they came, they were kind of, a little hesitant, trying to figure it out. And then the more they come, the more they're opening up. Like, I have some people that are very quiet, kind of reserved. And then their third time here, they're sharing for like 10 minutes about what's going on in their life. And it was like, holy shit, that was amazing. Right. And at this point too, I think that it's just essential to really allow people to be themselves and allow people to think for themselves and really unlearn a lot of what we've been conditioned to believe. So I think that's a big challenge nowadays is, the process of unlearning. It's not always about putting more in. A lot of times it's about taking things out that may not be serving us, limiting beliefs, beliefs that may just be false, whatever they may be. And, I just think that what you're doing and what the people you work with are doing, it's just inspiring. And, it motivates me to, do better and be better. And, on the other side of the next thing you talked about was, going on the road trip and having no attachment. So when I was in Asia, 2017, just with a backpack, and I was talking about this with one of my buddies the other day, it was like, just walking around like Thailand with a backpack and be like, where do we want to go today? Where do we want to sleep tonight? Wherever we want to. Like there was just so much freedom and so much presence because, we have a rough framework of generally where we want to go. For the most part, it's like moment to moment. Like, what do we want to do right now? Okay, cool. We're going to go there. Oh, okay. We're going to go there next. And sometimes I think it's so important for people to have that experience, no matter how they do it, whether, you're doing a road trip across the country, whether you're going to a foreign country, whatever you're doing, going on a retreat by yourself, going to an Airbnb for a week, just some period of free play. And like you said, fun, just go. Like, don't think so much, just be in the moment and just explore. That's the word I'm looking for, exploring. I think that we need more exploring because we tend to put ourselves in this box. Like, all right, I have this direction, I have this goal, so I'm going to put on my blinders and avoid everything else. But, we want to stay on track, but it's okay to go off some of those little side trails from time to time and have a side quest. I'm looking at your Zelda shirt, a little side quest.
1,000%, dude.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see all the side quests and the main quests that you're embarking on.
Yeah, dude. And, I think one thing that it's funny because this came up yesterday in that conversation too. It's a quote by Bruce Lee. So it's not the daily increase, but the daily decrease in your life that makes the difference. And it's just the truth. Yeah, man. So it's just constantly removing anything that you just don't want, right? Because we end up picking up, we learn at a younger age, like, no, bring everything with you, like everything. Take everything that you can. More. And it's like once you come to the awareness that more doesn't make anything better, it makes it more difficult. It's just slowly, one by one, coming to a place where it's like, I don't need that hat anymore. I'm gonna drop the hat. I don't need that belt anymore. I'm gonna drop the belt. I still need that backpack. I'm gonna keep the backpack. And then 3 months go by. You know what? I don't know if I even need that backpack anymore. It's like slowly you like really let yourself be like, I really don't need anything. Like, I'm actually really great right here, right now. And yeah, I think like with me, I'm definitely an extreme minimalist. I like don't like owning that many things. In our apartment, I have these yoga poofs. I don't know if you can see. We have 4 of them. I use our coffee table is my grandfather's World War II footlocker. We don't have a kitchen table. We just sit on the floor. We have an office with a bookcase, and we have like 2 little Target like desks we put together, and we just make it work. And I'm all about creating space to do things, like more space to stretch, more space to like play with my staff, more space for me just to like feel like my place is bigger than it is. I think it's so easy to get caught up in that stuff, and I think that the less stuff that you have attachment to, the easier it is to not get attached to stuff. And so it's like, the further you go in that direction, it just gets easier and easier. And, all I have are the things that I really like. And I do have quite a few swords. I guess that's my guilty pleasure right now. I don't know what it is about them, man. It's just really cool. But yeah, I just agree with you. And, going back to what you said about creating the space and watching people slowly start to open up, et cetera. I remember when I first started doing Pillars of Growth meetups, we did at one point, there was like 40 something weeks in a row we did a meetup. And what I found was that there ended up just always being a core group of people who would just bring so many other people in too, who they thought would be a great fit. And I thought that was really great. And I think that in the coaching space, there's not enough of that. And I think a lot of it stems from people either not feeling like they want to do that because it's not what they signed up to do when they decided they were going to become a 6-figure coach in the next 6 months. Or they're afraid to get people together because they're not really sure what to do. And I think that's both are understandable. And when you cross that threshold, though, and cross that barrier, and you get in person to people, and you like do your work in person, I think things really come full circle, and you see what this job is really about, and how much responsibility there is with it, and how fun it is. And were you a video gamer, bro?
I played my fair share of
Were you
World of Warcraft.
Were you a real-time strategy gamer? Like
yes.
Okay, cool. So the whole game is basically Age of the Empires.
Yes, so, that was a great game.
Yeah, Age of the Empires / Civilization / like medieval Total War. So that's how I view it, and like that's why it's so fun. It's like I feel like all I did when I first started my company was just plant a flag in the ground, and it started with just me at a campfire, and then a couple people came, and then a couple people left, and then a couple people came, and then we had like some tents. And now there's like a fucking house with like a little farmland, and there's going to be like a barracks, and like it's just like growing itself. But it's so much more fun that way when you think about it. I think that like the game of business is really just like an adult version of a sandbox. And if you get to that place where you can start to see the fun in it, and you let go of like all the attachment to like accolades and titles and labels, etc., it becomes so much more free flowing. And then you can really embrace that like non-materialistic life where like, we're going to do a mobile HQ for a couple months and just roll and just fucking have fun and do our job, and we'll learn and we can adapt. You know what I mean? So it's so inspiring, creative, and fun. And it's I think it's that kind of space that creates the space for creativity, and it's creativity that breeds innovation, not productivity. And as a world, like we need way more space for creative play. Like it's totally fucking us. We're so obsessed with efficiency and productivity. It's like, dude, I can feel the tension from here of people like that. It's insane. It's like, dude, it's okay. Like you can lay off the gas a little bit here. Like, it's you with a gun to your head. Like I tell all my clients, it's always you. And if it's crazy, if we walked around all day, Rob, we would literally, and we could see what people were thinking as they were like being. We would literally see a bunch of people like this. Dude, are you going to do it? Oh my gosh, you didn't do that. Oh my gosh, you didn't say that thing. Oh my gosh, you're not going to call him a person. Like, dude, take the gun, holster that shit. You're in control, man. Relax. So to your point, space. One thing, space creates. It's like a little bumper sticker of mine. I'm gonna totally take Matt. I'm gonna take Matthew.
You let me know.
I'm gonna take Matthew McConaughey. He's good. I'm listening to his book right now. He calls him. He's like, I learned a lot of this, a lot of that, and a lot of bumper stickers. He's like, bumper stickers are just one-liners, and he's like, I got a lot of them. It's just good. But yeah, space creates. I love that. I think it's the truth, and it's where I have all my clients start. I'm like, listen, you've been brainwashed into thinking you need to be more productive. That's not what you need to be. You need to think about this creation that you want to build. You have to visualize it. You have to become it. embody it. It takes time. It doesn't happen in 2 seconds. Be aware.
Right? You know what I love the video game analogy, because that's kind of something that I like to use as well, through my own personal growth and my business growth. Is like, you think of like the stats on a character, like, oh, strength, intellect, agility, spirit, stamina, whatever it is. I kind of start to think about that. All right, so like, what area of my life needs a little bit more, attention? And for me, recently, it was strength. I had an injury weightlifting about 2.5 years ago, so my strength has really gone down. My agility is pretty good, my stamina is pretty good, but the strength attribute was lacking. So I put a lot more focus on, strength training. And that has just really opened doors. When you feel better and you feel stronger, you feel more confident, you feel more creative. It's all connected. Yes. And it's something that, I think it's just really important to kind of analyze ourselves and be completely honest with ourselves. Like, where do I need to do work? And not like, oh, it's kind of pathetic that you're not strong right now. Or, it's kind of pathetic that you're not, energetic right now. But it's like, look, let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be a little caring to ourselves, compassionate to ourselves, not beat ourselves up for that. It's like, look, it's okay. Life happens. So now that we're aware of that, let's start working on steps to improve that. Yeah. And like you said, the space, two of my buddies, the Ice and Iron co-founders, we're talking about putting a podcast together, the three of us. So we went to a podcasting studio. We're thinking about doing, actually going to a legit studio and having someone record it and all that. And we were thinking about a name. We're kind of spitballing names. And then today I went for a walk after stopped trying to be productive about it. I went for a walk and I was like, I thought of some really good names. So then I put those in our little group chat. And it's like, it took me stepping back from trying to be productive and like, oh, I got to get this done today. It's like, no, just let it come when it comes. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, to your point on the space, no matter what we're doing, the more we try to force something in there, the way I kind of think of it is, you have a cardboard box. If you keep shoving shit in there, eventually the box is going to break. It might break from the top, it might break from the bottom, the sides, but sometimes you just need to let that box settle, and then things will settle down, and naturally you'll find the space as things start to settle. And I think that, like you said, it's not always about productivity and efficiency. Sometimes we just got to give space, and that's where the magic happens in that space.
1,000%. And to me, it just reminds me of a running river. When the river is like overflowing with water and running super hardcore, and we're working and hustling so hard, we don't see but we're trying to see what's at the bottom, but we can't see it. It's only when it calms down and you calm down and through stillness, the truth. And I think it's the hardest thing to do in business, because there's just so much external stimulus in comparison. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, we all want to go somewhere. We all see someone else that's either already there, and we have access to all stages of the journey. Right. It's sort of like if you play like Skyrim, it's like you already know how the game plays out before you ever play it. So you just want to get to the end so you could just say you have it. Right. You actually don't get to enjoy it. Like, if we all had blinders on, we didn't have social media right now, like, how would this play out? We'd be so much more focused in the moment. We'd be so much more interactive with every conversation, knowing that it's going to lead to something bigger. So it's unlearning, like you said, that entire philosophy on life of like, oh, even though you know the answers, pretend like you don't, right? There's a great quote by an ancient martial artist. When you start every day from zero, there is no limit to the number of techniques you can learn. And I love that quote, because when you get yourself grounded in zero every day, you can actually approach each and everything you do with grace, with presence, with love and integrity, honesty, and all of your values. And you can start to actually do something really creative in you instead of comparing or modeling off of what everybody else does, which is, in this online digital world, the thing that the most, and I'm going to say it again because it's the absolute truth, most of these marketers are just absolutely fantastic at preying on people who preying on people's insecurities, right? In the sense of like, I don't feel good. I'm in lack. I want 6 figures so that I feel good. this guy says he can help me bridge that gap. I'm going to do it, right? Versus the person who's like, listen, I know you think you want this. I can see through, and I know you don't really want this. You really need that, right? And have people around that can bring that to your awareness. So I think like when we're talking about stillness and we're talking about starting every day at zero and approaching things with presence, you know, especially in the business realm, I think that is like the missing ingredient is just there aren't enough leaders at the top that are actually sharing insight into like, hey, zero, nothing, stillness, more of it. Like even a lot of the people who have, I think, a lot of really great values, they still are drivers, man. Like they're driving. I'm like, yo, like, and listen, to some of them, that's what they do, and that's cool. But I think it's so important for everyone listening. Like, you are the driver of your life. If you don't want to drive 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you don't have to.
Right.
Don't feel like you have to just because someone else is, because you don't know what they're going through. They could have serious insecurities or serious inferiorities that have been stemming since they were a little kid that you just aren't aware of. So don't try to aspire to be that just because of legacy. I want to be Achilles. I want to be known for, like, don't be Achilles if you don't want to be. Right? Everyone wants to be Achilles. What does Achilles say in Troy? He says, the kid says, why do you do this? Why do you fight that man, Achilles? Why do you go to war to certain death? And he's like, because you will never, your name, he's like, what's your name? The kid says, he's like, because no one will ever remember your name. They'll remember mine, is basically what he says. And I'm just like, okay, for some people, they want the glory, but here's the kicker. Like, the earth has killed itself and wiped out existence multiple times since dawn. It ain't a big fucking deal, okay? One day they're going to dig up our fossils and they're going to find this little POG flag in like a heap under like thousands of years of oh, wow, I wonder what these guys are doing. Little do they know, ice and iron versus POG LARP off, you know what I mean? Battle, dude. So it's like, you know, just bring it, like, just laughter, bringing that into it. And just, I guess, just really just figuring out like what you actually want to gain from your path in life and your way, and just so much less of this modeling and trying to be like everybody else. There's so much more of just stepping into a place where people don't judge you and you can do whatever you want to do, and that's cool. Whatever.
I love that. Yeah, I think it really is a matter of, you know, sometimes just turning a blind eye to social media and, you know, what other people are doing. I think that, well, it can be extremely valuable to, you know, look at other people that are inspiring to you and are, you know, have qualities that you want to emulate, you know, or successes that you would like to, you know, emulate. That sometimes that can actually be kind of counterproductive because, like you said, then sometimes we get into that state of lack. We get into that state of, oh, they're there, but I'm not there yet. Therefore, I'm inferior. Therefore, they're superior. But at the
Right,
end,
but it all happens unconsciously.
right. Yes.
That's the issue. It's like you don't even think about it. You just do it. And so that becomes your new state of like, oh, I'm just going to continuously. And then eventually it becomes your new language of like, oh, I'm not as good. You convince yourself you aren't, right?
And it's crazy because, you know, as you said, a lot of these things are happening subconsciously, and that's coming back to the marketing. You know, marketers, they're not stupid. They're not idiots. Like, they're some of the most intelligent people on this planet. And like you said, they tend to prey on insecurities. And I mean, you think of, you know, I always think of pharmaceutical commercials as the funniest thing in the world because they have these people, you know, walking through a field all joyous. Well, they're listing side effects for 90% of the commercial. And it's like, but your brain is focusing on the images. You're seeing all these people are feeling good, not listening to the fact that this person's saying, oh, if you take this, you could die. If you take this, you get cancer. If you take this, you get yada, yada, yada. It's like, if you're actually listening consciously to what is being said, you're like, why the hell would I ever want to take that? But when you're, you know, they're so good at manipulating that message, and not just pharmaceutical companies, but like you said, with, you know, people selling something that is from a place of lack. It's incredible. And then it reinforces that negative belief. It's like, oh, they're showing me someone who's really successful. They're reminding me I'm not that successful. Again, this is going subconsciously, like you said. So a lot of times the best thing I think we can do is just completely disconnect. And I always say, like, you know, when you do something, do it. Don't multitask. Multitasking, I think, is one of the worst things we can do to ourselves. You know, when I go for a walk, I'm walking. I don't take my phone with me. You know, some people are like, oh, I go for a walk, and then while I'm doing that, you know, I'm responding to emails and stuff. It's like, no, just walk. You know, if you're going in the shower, just go in the shower. Like, don't
See,
have a
here's the
waterproof
thing.
case.
I love this, right? They're not walking, Rob. They're emailing while moving.
Right. Big difference.
It's that simple. People are just so unaware of the truth that they actually convince themselves that they're walking. They're not fucking walking. You are emailing while moving.
Right.
Or you're listening to music while moving.
Right.
You want to listen to music. You don't want to walk. Because if you walk, you listen to the sound. There already is music. You just aren't listening for it, right? So to your point, it's just like, it's interesting, man. It's just like, it's that intentional. Like every little thing is just that simple. We just keep breaking it down. And people have just been they have been so locked up in the cages they created for themselves for so long, they don't realize that they are actually in the recesses of their mind, they are creating a prison cell for themselves they have the key the whole time. And if they would just open the door and step out of the cell they created and start, and granted, this is like a very deep concept. You have to obviously find faith. But when you do find that faith to open up that door and you walk out into the world, you realize that all these forces aren't necessarily conspiring to make your life hell. Like the sun is for sure warming your ass up.
Yep.
So be grateful. I mean, are you kidding me? We're on a friggin' space rock in the middle of 365 billion galaxies, and we are warm because of this thing. So, I think it's just like having that perspective. And for me, I know that, when I was younger, and especially like, it's just so fascinating. I think this is like for sure the craziest thing is that being an entrepreneur, my life is so structured in the way that I live it that I literally am never surrounded by any of the things that I was forced to be surrounded by when I was in like school, which was like tons of people who I was never in alignment with or would never hang out with or would never, right? And now it's like, dude, the only people that I talk to are people who are like consciously trying to seek to grow themselves mentally, physically, spiritually, etc., or myself, or just hanging out with nature. Like everyone that I meet is so friendly and nice, and I think it's just the craziest thing is that so many people are still subjected on a day-to-day basis to places that they just despise. Right. Because of that, it just makes life so much more difficult to manage. And I think that like people always say, "Oh, you're living the dream," this, that, the other, and like, man, I feel like I really am. I'm living the exact dream that I wanted to live. One where I'm kind of in control and I can do pretty much whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want, within reason. And I think that the best part about being an entrepreneur and creating the life that you want to live is the in between moments where I'm in my car and like I'm just feeling the sun and I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to be anywhere. I can just sit there for 10 minutes if I want. And I do. I just sit there. Or I lay down in the car. Or I like go under a tree and just lay down. Or I just go for a walk and I go, or I just put my phone in airplane mode and I go, I don't care. It's not, right. I'm not here right now.
Right.
Like that level of freedom, I think is the whole thing. And, and here's I love this too. People will say like, more marketers. If you're self-employed, you don't own a business. You're still trading time for money. It's like, dude, if the person's happy with what they're doing, they've created autonomy. Like, why can't we just let things be as they are? If you really don't like it because you really want to create that structure for other people and yourself, then that's great. But moving away from just all of the society's dogma, man, it's just insane.
It is. And, I love what you said, that the prison that we are in is one that we've created ourselves. And not only have we created ourselves, we also have the key to open it. And I think that it's very easy to get caught up in blaming and saying that someone else is responsible for your challenges or for your struggles or for the cage that you've been put in. But we need to accept that we put ourselves in that cage. And we are completely responsible for the amount of time we spend in that cage and for the tightness of that cage and how constricting we are to ourselves. And we also need to recognize that it's a conscious choice of when we're going to let ourselves out. People can say, "Oh, my boss is the reason I'm unhappy." You can have the same job, two completely different attitudes. You can go up there, say, "I'm going to make the best of it. Yeah, it may not be perfect, but I'm going to make the most of it." Or you can go there and say, "Oh, this sucks. I hate this." Two completely different days. And, that really is just a conscious choice. And of course, after a while, people are going to get worn down. If you're at a job you've hated for 10 years, like, yeah, it's going to be tough. But then also taking responsibility for the fact that you didn't decide to change your job. And, I understand people have bills to pay for, but, like you said, the entrepreneurial mindset is like, you can just do something on the side, a little bit of something, 1% every day. And even if it takes 5-10 years to build your business, that's what it takes. And I think what you said with the little moments, that was one thing I noticed yesterday. And actually, this whole week has been a crazy busy schedule. Like the busiest I've been in a very long time, all good busy. But there was a lot of little moments that made me really appreciate in between, 2 different appointments at an hour, went to the beach with my buddies, got in the sun, did some stretching, some movement, got in the ocean, then went to the podcasting studio. It was this space that I could choose to continue to just work, post on social media, do whatever my ego wanted to do. But we consciously chose, let's go to the beach and let's enjoy this little 1 hour window because we've been going all day. We haven't had a break. And then yesterday, I had 20 minutes in between calls, went outside in the sun, did a light workout, little things. Went for a walk, had 20 minutes, went for a walk. Just using that little space, like you said, airplane mode or phone not even with me. And those, I think, are the things that, for me, it's not about, having the luxury car, having a private jet, any of those, fancy things. It's about having that space. And that's really what motivates me, is to know the fact is like, look, if I need a day off today, I'm going to take a day off because I've worked for that, to be at a place where I can do that. And my body needs that. And I have the freedom to do that. Or even if it's not take a day off, take 3 hours off, go sleep, take a nap, catch up on sleep for a few hours. Like that little space, that's my freedom. And that's what I really appreciate. Not the crazy shit, just the little things. And I think that if we can all just be a little bit more grateful, like you said, for the sun, like all the little things that have conspired to allow us to live. The fact that we are a human being is insane. Like nothing else. Like we could have been an ant, we could have been algae, we could have been not even on this planet, we could have been a freaking who knows. And we ended up as a human being. That's incredible. And that right there is something to be grateful for.
Yeah. I think it's pretty simple when you boil it down, but the whole boiling it down thing is a whole process.
It is.
You know what I mean? I'm with you though, dude. It's funny. As Avi and I, on the retreat, we had probably a 20-minute rap / song that we made, and we just titled it "It's Simple," and it's just simple. Everything is just really so simple when we break it down. So, to your point, dude, I'm with you, man. And bringing it back, it's like it's exciting the work that you're doing. It's exciting the work that we're doing. We're definitely helping other people just to step out of that prison and remind them that they have the key, and you don't have to stay in there if you don't want. You can come out here. It's pretty cool. You can do what you want. This place is a pretty good place to live for all those people out there who are hating on the United States super hard. You know what I mean? Obviously, in this whole political atmosphere, it's complete unawareness, lack of awareness in every way, shape, and form. So man, it's nice. I'm a happy person. It could be so much worse. At any moment, a solar flare could knock us out, and then things get real. And I'd rather it not be like that, man. I'm enjoying this. I'm reading Lord of the Rings right now. And Frodo and Sam and Gollum, man, for quite a while there, we got no food. We're in the middle of desolation. And this is pretty much the worst place of all time. Not really trying to have that, be Southern California anytime soon, man. I'm enjoying the San Diego. It's super sunny, super nice. They're big on healthy food. I mean, I've never had a year in my life where I've gotten this much sun.
That's phenomenal.
In a balanced way, right? In the summers, I would stock up on it, so I'd spend as much time outside as possible. But out here, you just get it whenever you want. There's always vitamin D available, and it rained 2 times last week, and it was the first time it rained since we got here in March.
That's crazy. Well, I'd love to kind of wrap up by hearing your vision for the next 12 months. Like, what does pillars of growth look like in the next 12 months? What does Graham Lichtner's life look like in the next 12 months? And, what can people do to make this next year? Because obviously a lot of people kind of got caught up in the roller coaster that was 2020 for a lot of people. What is your thoughts of, what can we do as a individual and as a collective to make this next year better? And what does your life look like in this next year?
So I'll answer the second question first. The vision for Pillars of Growth next year is really simple. Just want to work with 100 people. That's it. 100 people, build a team, build a community, host awesome events, give a better client experience, build some more houses in our village, right? In our metaphysical village. So that's it. Super simple, man. It's going to just continue to be that each and 1 year. I'll be like, oh yeah, I want to add a wall this year. Next year, oh, we're going to build like a town hall. The next year, oh, we're going to build like an open space to play games. Like, it's always going to be just like more of building, more creative, more space, which is one of the reasons that I love the West Coast. There's so much space here. I know Massachusetts, like everything west of Boston, like it opens up a lot, which is really cool. But out here, it's always reasonably nice weather-wise and temperature-wise. So I feel like it's just so accessible. And, I love that about this place. And, metaphysically speaking, I just want to create more space. And like I said, we work with 100 people next year. That's perfect and beautiful. So simple. For me personally, I think we're going to get a bigger apartment. So that's pretty cool. Right now we're in a 1-bedroom, and it's a large 1-bedroom, but we're going to elevate it a little bit, which is neat. Probably just move down the hall, honestly. I was just thinking about that like maybe 10 minutes ago. But how to make 2021 a great year? I think it's really simple. I think the first thing we need to do is we need to accept 2020, which people won't. They're gonna take 2020 and 2021 and all 2021. Oh my gosh, if 2020 had just been better, I would, this would be a better year. It's like, okay. So, and if you can't get past that barrier, right, of acceptance and owning it, you already lost, and you'll lose every year, right, following, because you'll always make an excuse about how last year set you up for this year to be bad. So if you can get over that, then be like, 2020 was the best, worst, or shittiest year of my life, whatever you want to call it, and own it and be like, but this year is going to be better, and actually take the action to make that happen. You're in business. Beyond that, it's actually sitting down to reflect on like, what do you want this year, right? Because the lack of reflection is really the issue. And one thing that I've learned is as I've taken my foot off the gas and started to do more coasting on the highway, right? I'm a big fan of like 65 in the right-hand lane, metaphysically speaking, for business. So you can actually like see what's coming and you can take breaks and you get to the end of the line. What I found is that with that time, I've realized the importance of reflecting on like everything I do, like all of the things that I'm doing, all of the actions, all of the calls, all of the ideas, like reflecting on reflecting, like really taking the time to think about these things and process them and feel how I actually feel about them. Again, space creates. If you don't have the space, you can't do it. So I think first you got to own it, 2020. Second, you got to reflect on like what you actually want for 2021. And third, you need to find a group of people who want similar things. You got to get around other people. You got Ice and Iron, you got POG, you got many other groups of people out there that are doing cool things. Find ones that have the same values as you. If you don't know your values, sit around it and reflect on it. Think of some. Find other people who have those. Get around them because they'll help make that vision become a reality, right? You'll all work towards it together collectively. You'll push one another. You'll support one another. And I think those three things, they're the easiest way to have a better 2021. It doesn't have to be the best year of your life, which everyone always like, we're so extreme. It's either the worst year or the best year. There's nothing in between. But like, I think people forget, like in a book, the chapters aren't either just action or just nothing. There's build-up chapters. Right. There, on a roller coaster, it's not just up and down. There's like sideways. There's loop-de-loops. There's all kinds of things. And we, for whatever reason, we think of life so linearly. Like it's either this or that. It's just not, man. That's why there's not just black and white. There's many colors in the spectrum. But I really think those three things, like accepting 2020 for what it was, good, bad, ugly, embracing 2021 and reflecting on what you actually want, and then getting around a group of people who are wanting similar things, and then taking the action to actually follow through, breaking it down into something tangible that you can do, and just accepting things as they are. I think for a lot of people, they just have a really hard time accepting things as they are, and they're always living in the past or the future. And because of that, they're never able to enjoy anything, and they just walk around stressed with tension. And when I see those people, when I'm sitting at the table at Jimbo's, just sitting there thinking and observing, I have to, it like really brings me back to those times when I felt that way too. And at the time when I felt like them, I had no idea that there was that person observing me that felt the way they felt. And if I had known that, it would have really been interesting to know how they felt, because what I really was seeking was what they had. Just a moment. It's just a moment. That's all we really want, right? It's just a moment to be. Fucking Shakespeare said it, dude. To be or not to be. That is the question. That is the fucking question. Right. Like, it's so fucking simple. And that hit me probably 6 months ago. I was like, oh my fucking God. I've been hearing it my whole life, and I never, but that's the beauty of wisdom and of words and of actions and people, is like, you can't see them until you are ready to see them. You can't hear them until you are ready to receive it. They don't exist. They're right in front of you, but you can't see. And I think that's just one of the coolest things about life, is it's like, so many of the secret passageways, or like the hidden gems, are really hiding in plain sight. Right. But we're so in that prison that we've created that we don't see them.
Well, you know what I think too is, you can listen to the same book or read the same book 4 times. Yeah. You're going to take away different things depending on where you're at, depending on what you are ready to receive. And I think that's one thing, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I've listened to that book like 4 or 5 times. Every time I listen, I take away something new. Like, something new is the big takeaway from that, because I'm at a different stage of my development that I'm ready to receive a different aspect. And that's where I feel like you said, it's just, constantly surrounding ourselves with good people, surrounding ourselves with good resources, reflecting on our own experiences. I think that's where, like, you can go for the same walk 60 days in a row. It's going to be a different experience every day. Of course, there's going to be similarities, but it's going to be a slightly different experience based on where you're at in your life. So I love that, Graham. And, my last question for you, who is Graham Lichtner when it's all said and done? Got to get real deep just to finish this one off here. Because you mentioned, someone finds your time capsule, Pillars of Growth. I want to hear, someone finds the bibliography of Graham Lichtner. Who is that?
Dude, honestly, man, I'm just the founder of Pillars of Growth, Mind, Body, Spirit. And the vision is to awaken the infinite potential in people and change the world by first changing ourselves. So I'm just someone who recognizes that I'm flawed, and I want to become a better man and a better human. And I'm just taking the action steps every day to do that. And I don't feel like I want any more or any less than that. I'm very cool with that. And that's perfect for me. So that's it, man. I'm just Graham. And I love that. And I never want it to be anything else. I don't even, people call me and right now my main job, my main role is I'm a coach. I'll always be a coach in a sense, because the CEO of the company is a coach. Right? The leader of the company is a coach. You're always going to coach people, whether it's your clients or your employees. You're always going to coach, right? It's part of my life. But when I think about myself, I'm Graham, and I'm just the founder of this vision of this company. I was just the guy that put the flag in the ground. And that's it. And it's not me. It's everybody else around me. It's the whole of us. It's the entire crew. It's the entire kingdom or queendom or community that really builds something special. And so, I've just been graced with the vision that I have, and I'm just working to build it in the sandbox of life. And that's literally all I will ever do. And I'm so excited to do it. It's fun. I've never lost zest ever once for it. If anything, it's just growing as more people are coming. It gets better. That's the beauty of it, right? Is that in entrepreneurship and in life, once you get over yourself, you attract all the people that you've always wanted in your life. And that to me is just the best. So, when they find me in this time capsule, or us in the time capsule, I think it'll just be something that simple. Maybe me with just a huge smile on my face and a bunch of amazing people around me. Just knowing that moment, whatever this moment was 3,000 years ago, these weird looking human things these aliens find, they look like they were having a good time. That was a moment. That's it. Just a moment. Good with me.
I love it. Well, Graham, thank you as always for sharing your wisdom. Where can people find you to learn more and connect with you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram or Facebook. Instagram at Graham.Lichtner, Facebook Graham Lichtner, YouTube Graham Lichtner. I'm most active on Instagram. I'm active on Facebook, and I have a lot of stuff on YouTube, but I am working to be a little more active on YouTube. And those are the places that you can find me.
Awesome, brother. Well,
and in person, randomly, wearing a green Zelda shirt.
Well, Graham, thank you as always. Appreciate your compassion, your drive, and just the integrity of what you do. So appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here, and looking forward to seeing you soon.
My man, in person.
In person.
Okay. Appreciate you, brother.
Peace out, homie. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Whole Health with Rob Carney Podcast with our guest, Graham Lichtner. So you can find Graham, learn about Pillars of Growth and all the great coaching that he does on Instagram at graham.lichtner, as well as on Facebook or YouTube, also Graham Lichtner. So check him out there. Graham is just such a great guy. As you've seen, he's very humble, very honest, and he's very driven. He has a very good balance to life and really moves forward at a very sustainable pace. So I really appreciate all the work he's doing and would love for you to check him out there. And I want to talk about a little bit more about community, the importance of community. In a year that community has been disintegrated, we talk about what's essential, what's not essential. But I believe community is essential. So if you're looking for a community of like-minded people who are focused on improving themselves and improving the planet and helping people around them, shoot me a message. I really want to connect with you. If you feel called to action, to build a community, to grow together, to improve yourself and improve the world, shoot me a message. As I mentioned, I host Ice and Iron if you're in the Boston area with my buddy Eddie and Jordan. So would love for you to join us there. If you're local, we do a lot of breath work. We do ice baths, working out, working in, connecting, sharing, sauna, you name it. All things wellness, all things personal development, all things improvement. And then also, if you're not local, or if you are local too, I have my Purium community, our Superfoods team. We use the network marketing model as a vehicle to help ourselves and help the people around us, gaining financial independence, gaining residual revenue, sharing organic superfoods with a company that's going 100% plastic free by the end of 2021. By the end of this year, we're going to be single-use plastic free. And that is a mission that I am so passionate about. As a sustainable food and farming major in my undergrad, I know the importance of, really taking care of the planet, taking care of ourselves, the importance of organic foods. So if you want to learn more about our communities, learn more about Graham's community, as I said, just shoot me a message on Instagram at Whole Health Connections and just say the word community. You don't have to be fancy. If you want to say more, you're more than welcome to. But if you want to get some more information, tell me where you're from, tell me the word community, and we can hop on a call, chat some more, share some links, and we're going to grow together. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with you. Yes, this is a message for you. Take action now. The time for community is now. The time to grow ourselves and heal the planet is now. So if you're ready, message me the word community. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for your support. And I'm looking forward to growing together. Peace.